Welcome to the Warsquared Fantasy Football Podcast, a full-service year-round podcast with weekly episodes to provide fans with info on their teams and players. Whether you're a newbie or a longtime veteran of the fantasy wars, Warsquared is the podcast for you. And welcome in, second verse, same as the first. The Powerball did not end up being won by any of us, so we are still here. We will jump right in with Frank Reich being fired.
He gone.
Yep. The Jabroni Ponies fired him and hired Jeff Saturday, who has 1 year of coaching experience from what you said.
1 year of high school experience. He was 3-6 at a high school. I don't know where. Sorry.
So leave it to the Jabroni Ponies to hire somebody who's very football knowledgeable, but very inexperienced as a coach.
But it's pretty good karma because just 2 weeks ago he tweeted out the Raiders look terrible. Guess who he gets to line up against on Sunday as the head coach?
That could be ugly.
The Raiders
in Vegas. Tanking for the Colts begins in 3, 2, 1.
It already started. They can't suck for luck. Who are they gonna? What's the motto going to be this year?
I don't know. They can't wait around long enough for Arch Manning to get there, so they're just going to have to wait.
They want CJ Stroud.
Oh, gosh. Josh Allen's elbow injury. According to Tobin, this looks just like a Tommy John situation.
Yep, it is a Tommy John situation. The ulnar collateral ligament has been strained, and he is day-to-day, which means they're going to try to play him through it as it goes along. They haven't released whether it's a grade 1, 2, 3 strain or sprain, but I'm predicting surgery sometime between now and the end of February.
Rehab on a major league pitcher or a pitcher at any level on that is a minimum
9 months.
Well, if they're trying to do it without surgery and hoping it's just a light strain, he's going to miss probably 4 to 6 weeks minimum.
Correct.
Football's a lot heavier than baseball, however. This is not good.
And the injury was a lot more traumatic than what a baseball pitcher gets with his elbow throwing.
Correct. Theirs is the torque of their own arm throwing said baseball. This
Not
was
having a 300-pound
gorilla tied to your arm.
I'm willing to kind of go out on the limb and cut myself up, and I need to. He will be having some type of surgery to that between now and the end of February to alleviate the scar tissue or speed the healing process, however they want to deem it for them. And he will be ready to play again next year if that takes place. So he won't miss any time next year. This year is questionable. He is day-to-day. So if you own him in any fantasy leagues, make sure you monitor your actives, inactives as the week goes by, and have somebody on your bench that can cover for him.
I'm just wondering the baseball, the actual pitching. It's more about snapping and spinning. With the football, I don't.
But this isn't the football. This is the guy attached to his arm as he was trying to do it that twisted and threw the arm.
I understand, but I mean, it's one of those things that I don't think it. I mean, after the injury occurred, he still threw it 69.3 yards in the air.
Yeah. And you can, even in baseball with the torn ulnar collateral ligament, you can pitch. It just hurts.
Yeah.
And it doesn't spin as well as far as trying to snap off a curveball type thing.
And it's only going to get worse.
Yeah. And if you're throwing a fastballs don't really affect the ulnar collateral ligament because it doesn't get strained as much doing that. And throwing a football is basically throwing a fastball motion.
Well, let's be honest. If it was you guys throwing the fastball, you're not even going to feel it. Top end level like that, you're going to feel it. I mean, a big league fastball that a guy is throwing 95, suddenly his fastball's 83.
Yep.
After it pops, that's what comes off it.
And
instantly.
You know, he before he got injured, he could probably throw the ball 190 yards in the air. I mean, it is Josh Allen with a rifle for an arm. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how many games he misses, if he misses any games this year, and what happens to the Bills and their playoff prospects going forward.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get Case Keenum. Now, the only good news about Case Keenum is that he has played with Stephon Diggs before, so there's not going to be any learning curve really there.
But it's going to hurt the value of the fantasy players offensively in Buffalo dramatically.
Oh, yeah. Aaron Jones did practice on a limited basis today, although it did not look good. I guess apparently he was in the walking boot and all that stuff.
He's done for this game.
So he's listed as day-to-day, which means there is a chance. You'll have to monitor his practice reports. They're in a desperate situation. They have to have this game this week against the Cowboys or they're done.
They're done already. Put a fork in them, they're done.
Only because they're in the NFC, which everybody is killing each other outside of the NFC East, the Vikings. That's the only reason they still have hope. Romeo Dobbs was placed on IR. He's probably done for the season. They also lost Rashawn Gary with an ACL, and Devondre Campbell, who they lost 2 weeks ago, was put on IR too. Like Doc said, they're probably done.
With the 4th pick in the NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers select the best wide receiver on the board.
Oh, it can't be. It's not going to be that high. There's no way.
How rich would that be if they did that now that Raj is probably on the way out the door?
Yeah.
You know they will.
Mm-hmm.
There was an interesting article today by a beat writer, I can't remember the guy's name, that talked about the Packers shutting down Aaron Rodgers so he doesn't take any more abuse this year, so they can find out what they have in Jordan Love and possibly trade him or make the decision what to do with Aaron Rodgers in the postseason.
You want to know what my idea of what they have with Jordan Love is? No offense, Tommy.
I really expect Jordan Love's going to be traded. I really do. I think somebody else is willing to say he's decent.
Yeah, here's a 6th rounder, 7th rounder.
I mean, I can tell you right now, Jordan Love's better than Sam Ehlinger.
This might be that trade that we saw a couple weeks ago that it was, you take our player and we'll give you a 6th and you give us back a 7th.
Yeah,
that was a Commodes trade.
Yes.
We'll take Ross Osweiler in a 2nd and we'll give you a 7th in return.
Wait, can NFL Network conduct a trade?
They can. On paper. Okay, so we actually had games this week.
We did. We'll start with last Thursday, Eagles 29, Texans 17. The Eagles, if you watched it, they really kind of walked through this game. Jalen Hurts only 243 and 3, 9 or 23 on the ground. A.J. Brown only 4 for 59 and a touchdown. Miles Sanders 17 for 93 and a touchdown. But Dallas Goedert had the big game, 8 for 100 and a touchdown.
Yep.
The defense wasn't great. They let the Texans score 17. Damian Pierce did most of the damage, really putting a blueprint on how you can compete with the Eagles, and that's just to run the ball at him. 27 for 139, but he was dinged up. He didn't practice today. He was limited. So keep your eye on him if you're relying on Damian Pierce. And then we don't know what's happening with Brandon Cooks. He's in danger of possibly voiding his $18 million guarantee by not practicing.
Brandon Cooks should have been traded. They should have got some value for him. If the Texans were any type of compassionate team, they'd release him and let him go to a playoff team in order to be able to get out of the messes in Texans and actually salvage some part of his career.
Well, the bad part now is if they release him, there's no way he's making it to a playoff team because he's going to get picked up on waivers way before that.
Well, with that contract, he might not.
No, he would. Somebody that thinks they have a chance next year will pick that up.
Well, if they're cut him, the Texans are just on the hook for it. It's already guaranteed. So,
if they cut him, the team picks him up, and if he has to clear waivers. Once he clears waivers, the team is then Texans then responsible for it. If somebody picks him up off waivers, that team becomes responsible for the salary.
I don't know if that's right or not, but we'll go with it. Moving on to Sunday night, Chiefs 20, Titans 17 in overtime. King Henry 17 for 115 and 2, but Malik Willis was out completed 43-5, and Pat came just 2 completions and 2 attempts shy of tying the all-time record for a game. He was 43 of 68 for 446 and 1 through the air, but 6 for 63 and ran 1 in.
It was his feet that killed us. Now, my question is, how many yards did he have escaping the rush while being in the game? Remember back when they played the Bucs, he had 298 rushing yards escaping the rush. How many rushing yards did he have behind the line of scrimmage this last time escaping the rush?
Probably a lot.
438.
Yeah, I think it was 398 in the Super Bowl or 396.
It was 298 or something like that.
I think it was
438 is what he had escaping the Tennessee rush this week. And as a Titans fan, we lost the game, but we won the war. And what I mean by that is we took Kansas City to overtime in Kansas City with a second string quarterback who was a rookie who threw 9 passes and completed 5 in the game. Believe it or not, even though we didn't win, they had to walk out of the game going, oh, hell, we can play with these guys.
That's what we call a moral victory, Tommy.
Kind of.
Maybe.
I mean, it's weird because they talked about it on the broadcast even that Jeffrey Simmons had went on radio shows like on Thursday of that week and said, yeah, we're not worried. We know what we're going to get here. We're going to beat them. And it was this close.
It was a missed call on Travis Kelce's offensive interference that should have been both ways. Rather than putting the ball at the 1 yard line, it still should have been at the 2 yard line. Have no idea if they would have completed the thing or not, but Tennessee got outscored. Kansas City won the game. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think what you saw here is this game was going to look this way, whether it was Tannehill or Malik Willis playing QB1 for the Titans to a certain extent. I mean, let's be honest, with Burks out, there's just no threat on the outside anyway. So it was going to be, how far will King Henry take you? And we know how far King Henry will take you. And we know that Vrabel tends to have Reed's number.
And we never wrote him in the second half.
He makes it into that muck it up, chippy, pushy, shovey game. That's not the Chiefs' forte. I mean, the Chiefs are out execute you, outthink you, not out muscle you. That's not how they're built.
We want to out thug you, and we did.
Well, the problem you guys had is somebody in Kansas City's press box finally figured out the overload rush with the catcher on the opposite side. And Wiley, instead of trying to man up against him, just let him run up the field, and it just leaves the parting of the seas in there.
Just like in the playoff game in 2020, Pat Mahomes' feet killed us.
Yep. And, the hard part about Pat is nobody respects his running. I mean, he's not pretty running, but goddamn, he's effective.
He looks like Forrest Gump running, but he gets the job done, just like Forrest Gump did in the movie. Now, one of the articles that I did read was one of the things that Tennessee should have done and didn't do was make an adjustment, put a spy on him, and they never did.
Well, they couldn't afford to.
Well,
because they were using that. Yeah, that was who was doubling up Kelce all the time.
Well, we only rushed 4 times. We only blitzed 15 times.
Yeah, and you would have gotten beaten by 21 if you'd have blitzed a lot more than that. No, that's where he's so effective.
But we didn't have to blitz is what the problem was.
I agree, but you have to pick your poison there, Doc. You only have 11 guys, so you're going to spy Mahomes or double Kelce because you can't do both.
If you spy Mahomes, we probably win the game.
You can't do both. Then Kelce kills you. And then you're in here griping about how the hell does he always get open. So it's okay.
Anyway, he was open all the time anyway. So
my team finally got over the hump with you guys, so I'm thrilled. Yeah. It was ugly. We'll take it. Moving along.
Monday night, Ravens versus the Saints. What an ugly ass game that was.
Wow. And coming close to home here, Tobin he outlasted Billy in this one because they went to the ground game with Kenyon Drake and kept it from being Lamar running all over the place and getting Billy a Lamar touchdown that beats Tobin.
Well, the difference in that game, as you sit there and watch it late in the second half, Lamar scrambled out to the right. They kept flushing him out to the right, and he had 2 consecutive runs that basically got right to the line of scrimmage or just short, and they counted them both as sacks. Back-to-back sacks on a play where he flushed out and ran out of bounds right at the sticks. That was the difference in the match.
Yeah.
I mean, I was dead. The whole second half, I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm winning this game.
But you did.
But only 133 passing yards, only 1 passing touchdown. He ran it 11 times for 82 yards. Kenyon Drake, 24 rushes, 93 yards,
Drake
and 2 scores.
Drake looked good, and the Ravens don't have anybody to throw the ball to.
No.
There's nobody that can win on the outside. Andrew's not there.
But Bateman's not there. Nobody's there.
Wow.
I think the plan, and one of the things they alluded to on the broadcast, this was the first time the Saints have played Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
The only other time the Saints and Ravens played, he didn't play. So the first time they face him, it's like 28-2 teams facing Lamar for the first time going into the game. So now it's 29-2 for Lamar. He beats them all because you can't account for
Lamar,
how slippery he is.
And that speed. I mean, you can't replicate that in practice.
No way.
No, you don't have anybody that's close.
The only way you can do that is if you have a backup running back who runs a 4.2.
If you're the Dolphins and you put Tyreek in to simulate it, you can kind of simulate the speed, but that's about the only team in the league that gets away with it.
Yeah. So amazing. The Ravens already said Gus Edwards is coming back in week 11. Personally, I think it's dumb. Whatever. Andy Dalton, terrible. 210 yards and 1 touchdown to Jawan Johnson, not to Chris Olave, who was 6 for 71. And Kamara, a huge disappointment. 9 rushes, 30 yards, 3 receptions, 32 yards.
He got pummeled all night.
He did. He got abused.
You don't normally see a lot of direct hits on him, and he got squared up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that big.
No, Roquan Smith was a difference maker.
That's why I went and picked the Ravens defense up specifically in most leagues, just because of Roquan Smith and his tackling ability. Because that frees the secondary up with which to cover people and have to come up and tackle.
Yeah, he's definitely a Ravens linebacker.
Yes.
What's weird is how much bigger he looked in a Ravens uniform than he did in a Bears
It's the
uniform.
Ray Lewis steroids.
It's just weird. It's
Shoulder pads. The shoulder pads make them look 10 times bigger than what they were in other uniforms.
Come on, guys. You guys clearly never been to Baltimore. It's the freaking crab cakes. Come on, let's go.
All right, Heather. Bucks 16, Rams 13. Tommy takes him 60 yards in less than a minute to eke out the win. More light beer yards for Brady, 280 and 1. I don't know how it was 280, but that's what it is. But right now, I am hating his skill players, especially Mike Evans and Leonard Fournette. There's a bunch of talk that Rashad White is going to take over.
He looked good.
He looked good.
He's more versatile than Fournette.
Well, Fournette needs to be spread out and basically become a wide receiver, is what Fournette needs to become.
Yeah, be a box out wide receiver.
Yep. Him and Mike Evans on the same side would absolutely physically abuse people.
I mean, he could almost be their version of Travis Kelce.
Yes.
That's a good call. But
He's that physical.
Cade Otton, he looked great.
He looked
on
good.
The final drive. Cooper Kupp, of course, got loose on a 69-yard TD to finish 8 for 127 and 1.
What ankle injury?
Of
Exactly.
Stafford's
With a bad wheel.
165 and 1. Now, Matt Stafford is currently out of practice and in the concussion protocol.
What, did he hit his head in the overhead bin on the plane home, or what?
I think his wife slapped him upside the back of the head and said, "Son, time to retire."
She threw the tequila bottle at him. I'm not liking his chances to play this weekend.
No.
He's fragile.
So
He's tough, but he's fragile.
If that happens, I forget who the backup's name is. John something.
Jingleheimer Smith.
He's not good, and that's going to kill your Cooper Kupp shares. But
I don't know. Cooper Kupp seems to get his touches and shares no matter who throws the ball to him and no matter what's going on in this world.
yeah, I don't like his chances. Lions 15, Packers 9.
God, what an ugly ass game.
Man, the Raw just cooked. 3 red zone interceptions, 291 yards and a touchdown. Dobbs left on the first drive after his first catch. Aaron Jones left in the third quarter. Lazard 4 for 87 and 1. You can't play any other Packers right now other than Lazard.
You can't play any Packers right now. And the reason why is you never know who A-Rod is going to try throwing the ball to. And watching that game, A-Rod's second interception in the red zone, he underthrew his Bakhtiari by at least 10 yards. Everybody started talking about how Hutchinson made a great catch, and he did. But it basically hit him, and he was in Bakhtiari was 10 yards past him. All A-Rod had to do is throw the ball in the back corner. It was a touchdown. He couldn't get the ball there.
So while we were watching this, we were sitting there, and I told Ellie, I said, look at this throw. This is the throw to somebody made in practice where nobody's really trying to cover this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because all these throws are thrown with nobody trying to be in the way.
Well, even in practice, that would have been incomplete because he didn't get the ball out there where he could catch it.
Right. But they're all thrown like no defenders are there.
Yeah.
Like it's against air. And Rod is cooked. I'm telling you.
I tell you what, has he taken all of his salary this year and put it on the Packers not making the playoffs?
Yeah, can we get his DraftKings login? Let's check that.
Yeah, I mean,
Do they have that in Wisconsin? I don't know.
But he just looks like a rookie quarterback trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the game.
I think he took the Vikings' future to win that division. Is what I think.
He might have. But Lions win the game.
Yeah, Lions did not look good. Their D did finally, which we thought that's kind of what they were going to be like all year.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 receiving TDs went to backup tight ends.
They're all backup tight ends at this point. Let's be honest. I took a guess and picked one of them up thinking he was going to be the starter. Yeah, dude blocked. He might have made 3 blocks.
Yep. But Lions won.
Hey, if you don't know who the hell they are, why would you cover them?
Right. Moving on to the other shocker of the weekend, Jets 20, Bills 17. I didn't like this game for the Bills. Go back, listen to the tape. I thought this could possibly be the trap game.
Yeah, Mark Shook, this one's for you. The goddamn Jets.
Oh my gosh.
Jets.
They sacked Allen 5 times, intercepted him twice. He didn't throw a passing touchdown, only 205 yards in the air. He ran 9 times for 86 yards and 2. Who do you think he is? Lamar? Diggs was 5 of 93. Davis did not make any plays. And actually the final pass was to Davis, but Sauce Gardner allegedly interfered with him and kept him from catching it. For the Jets, Michael Carter, 12 for 76 and 1 for 10 out of the backfield. James Robinson, 13 for 48, 2 for 5 and 1, just like he was doing in Jacksonville.
And the Jets are live for a playoff spot.
The Jets.
If we back up 10 weeks and I say that, what are you guys doing?
Throwing shit at you, probably.
Rolling on the floor, laughing your ass off.
Well, I'm probably sitting here going, then that means you're right about Breece Hall. He's probably got 1,000 yards already and 10
by the way,
touchdowns.
If he was healthy, he would.
But he wouldn't have 1,000.
It'd be close. Overall combined yards?
Well, maybe. Maybe combined yards. Moving on, Seahawks 31, Cards 21. Geno's comeback player of the year. We'll hear this again later.
No, he's the most improved player of the year, not the comeback, because he played last year.
Oh my gosh. 275 and 2, 6 for 38. Ken Walker is sewn up offensive rookie of the year with Breece out. 26 for 109 and 2, 3 for 20. Lockett and DK both caught 5, both scored touchdowns. For the Cardinals, Kyler started fast, opening TD drive to D-Hop, but finished 175 and 2, 8 for 60. D-Hop had 4 yards after starting 3 for 36 and 1 on the first drive.
Tell me about it.
Ertz got the other TD. He was 5 for 40 and 1.
Seahawks are for real.
Yes, they are.
Going into the season, I had him as one of the worst teams in football. I was wrong.
I think Pete Carroll might be coach of the year right now, too.
I definitely think
we're
so.
Talking awards here.
I'd say he's very close. I forgot to put that one on there. But
Robert Saleh might be the other one running for it.
There's 2, and they're both the New York coaches. I mean, literally, the Giants were the worst team. They were the worst player personnel team coming into this season, and they're almost leading the division.
And now the question is here, what's wrong with the Cardinals besides not having an offensive back, a running back, not having any other weapons besides Ertz and Hops and D-Hop?
Well, I mean, Marquise Brown being out certainly hurts them. I think once they get Marquise Brown and DeAndre Hopkins together and Zach Ertz, I think they're deadly.
Well, and that secondary still sucks. Let's be honest.
But let's be real. Kingsbury won't be there next year.
Geno just lit them up, and Geno's not a top flight passer in the NFL still.
He is right now.
He's a good manager, but they made him look really good.
He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I'd almost co-sign that. Moving on to Vikings 20, Commode 17.
How'd that feel?
It really sucked.
It's probably closer than you thought it was going to be, truth be told.
Well,
it was much closer than I thought it was going to be.
We had it.
Mm-hmm.
And with 7 minutes to go, Heineke throws an interception that they return down inside the 10. 3 plays later, they're in the end zone. Justin Jefferson, 7 for 115 and 1. Cook, 17 for 47. We totally bottled him up. 2 for 9 and that touchdown after the interception. We had him. We just turned the ball over late.
Let him wiggle off the hook.
Right.
I just feel bad for Heineke because I love his after a victory celebration going out and buy a new pair of Jordans in the colors of the team he just beat. That's his celebration.
Pretty good celebration.
His contract's crazy. He gets like a $120K bonus for every win.
Yeah, every win.
Starting QB.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go, kid.
I hope they win every game.
I hope he wins every damn game.
Just for him, I hope he wins every damn game. Yes.
Now, TJ Hawkinson, they said, like Thursday or Friday, they said, oh, yeah, he's going to be heavily involved. Yeah, he was. 9 for 70.
Yeah.
Guess what they needed? Another offensive weapon in Minnesota.
I was going to say, everybody who has TJ Hawkinson, I didn't think that it was going to be a trade way up to go to the Vikings, but it may be.
Well, he's no longer the primary target like he was in Detroit, with everybody being injured in Detroit.
He gets the Travis Kelce role when Tyreek was in Kansas City. Yes. Everybody's attention's going to Jefferson.
Yeah, and then Thielen's the other. We got to cover Thielen. We got to cover Jefferson. Got to watch Cook. Oh, look, there's Hawkinson going to kill us.
Right, he's wide open down the middle. Yep. It's like, where's that ball going to? Oh, it's Hawkinson.
Minnesota's the second best team in the NFC at this point in time.
The Commodes weren't able to get much going. Samuel and somebody named Dax Milne scored the receiving TDs.
Who the hell is that?
Yeah, that's what I thought when he scored. Heineke's showing why we can't go with him full time because of the way he threw that ugly interception. God, it's just, I don't know. On Commode's notes, the DC Attorney General is getting ready to has a big announcement on Thursday. So get scared.
The ballots are finally counted?
Yes. And,
oh, wait. Different story. Sorry.
And he's been voted off the island.
Sorry. Different story.
He's
going to beat Arizona by a day is what I hear.
Their investigation into the workplace misconduct is finished, apparently. So I'm scared of what could be going on for the Dan.
It can't be any worse than what the Dan already knows is going to happen.
Well, maybe they just take his team instead of letting him sell it. I mean, you know, how much deficit can we pay down? Can we get a tax break if they just take them and sell them?
No.
Come on. That might $6 billion. Can we have a tax break?
The government for a minute.
Well, they'll burn that before, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nancy Pelosi's husband will somehow invest that money and she'll make some more.
Ice cream in the refrigerator. Got to get a new one.
And Stanley Tools.
Yeah. Chargers 20, Falcons 17. Eckler was 14 for 47 and 1 on the ground, 7 for 24 and 1 through the air. Joshua Palmer, a huge late catch, going 8 for 106 total. But the Falcons lost this because with it tied at 17, Eckler fumbled about the 40.
Got to be the hero.
Some big-ass defensive lineman picked it up and started rumbling, bumbling, stumbling down the field and untouched,
tumbling the ball out of his hands.
Fumbled the ball back out, which was recovered by the Chargers. Easy for me to say. And the very next pass was like a 21-yarder from Justin Herbert to Josh Palmer that put him in field goal range to kick the winning field goal.
Dicker the kicker. 2 game-winning kicks, 2 different teams. Somebody sign this kid.
Dicker the kicker sticks it to the Falcons?
Yep. Leave that one alone for now.
Cordero Patterson returned. Got the most carries, went 13 for 44 and 2 touchdowns, but was really outperformed between the 20s by Tyler Algier, 10 for 99 and a big 1 for 24. Pitts and London had 66% of the targets, but combined 5 catches, 60 yards.
Who was throwing the ball to him? Willis?
I don't know. I just about went to my favorite one, your mom.
My arm's got a better arm than Mariota.
Oh, for sure. She can't run as fast as he can.
Doesn't have to.
Pats 26, Colts 3. The Colts are mailing it in, as we talked about earlier. They're praying Sean Payton wants to come there.
No.
Not going to happen.
Sean Payton looked at him and went, you know, the Chargers look better.
Yeah.
The Rams look better.
The weather's better.
Santa Monica looks a lot more appealing.
Tampa Bay looks better. Yeah, I think I'll stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he ain't going to Tampa Bay. He and Bruce Arians, and whatever Bruce Arians' role is, would not coexist in Tampa.
We'll see what happens in Tampa because Tommy wants Arians gone, supposedly.
Oh, he's wanted that forever. But Tommy's not coming back.
You know who the star of this game was? The Patriots defense.
Oh, no doubt.
They were incredible.
Wow. Rookie quarterback on the other side. What? Nine sacks and a pick
9
six?
sacks, a pick 6, a blocked punt that resulted in a 3-yard touchdown pass.
Of course, I had him on my bench in the BNI League. Go figure. That's why they did this.
Yeah. Deion Jackson filled in like crap for JT. Of course, he left for a little while in the third quarter injured. Sam Ellinger is single-handedly killing the fantasy value of Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce. Ramondre is the only Patriots that you still want. 15 for 60, 3 for 10 and 1.
Well, on offense, like it says, you don't mind having the Patriots defense. And did Ellinger really kill their offensive weapons when Ryan didn't exactly
I think that O-line's killed their offensive weapon.
I think, the O-line
and that used to be the vaunted Colts O-line, and
the blue wall.
They suck swamp water this year.
And they are...
And it's basically the same cast of characters.
Mm-hmm, and they don't look creative at all on offense. Well, JT's gone. JT not being there definitely it's if Kansas City lost Kelsey, what would happen?
Yeah.
They lost the heart and soul of the team, and that was JT, and they're just...
Yeah. On the line, they've moved the pieces around. So they're like, the guy who played right tackle is left tackle. The left tackle's the right guard. And
it's just in. Stop the Chinese fire drill. Put the pieces back where they worked, and move along.
Now, exactly.
JT did practice.
Hey, Jeff Saturday got called off the set. I mean, I'm available. Ursay, if you're looking, email me at the show. Just email me. We'll work this out.
JT did practice on a limited basis today, so we'll see if somehow he can come back. I'm not going to be surprised if this week the Colts go to Las Vegas and just try to run the ball down the Raiders' throats
and get hammered.
I don't know. If JT can play, he can kill the Raiders.
I wouldn't be that surprised if JT gets shut down for the rest of the season. Make sure he's healthy for next year and just go, this is a blip in the radar. This is a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah.
Let's make sure he's healthy. Let's get a quarterback in here. Let's go forward.
Moving to Bengals 42, Panthers 21. Joe Burrow did not.
You mean the Joe Mixon show?
Good God.
Joe Burrow did not do what Doc said he would. He did not pass for 400 plus yards.
He handed the ball to Mixon, who ran for 400 yards.
He was
two other guys had Mixon as the bust out, if I recall.
And you guys did.
4 for 9 for
on that great call.
Mixon put up what we were talking about, an all-timer, 22 for 153 and 4 rushing touchdowns, 4 for 58 and 1 receiving touchdown. That's 55.1 PPR points. Good enough for 12th all time.
The real question now is he practicing this week?
Hell no. What does he need to, well,
he's sitting back with the cigar going,
we talking about practice. Not a game.
Yeah.
Not a game. We talking about practice. I know it's...
But there's no practice for the Bengals this week anyways. It's their bye week. So Doc was right. Walker busted out 9 yards and 2 interceptions before they had to go to Baker Mayfield to come in and throw TDs to Tommy Tremble, a real guy, and Terrace Marshall, who played at LSU with Burrow and Chase.
I had him as busted, not busted out. You said I had him as busted? Busted out? Okay, I had him as busted.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay, I want to make sure we got the... You guys got
correct.
Right. I got Walker right.
It's a miracle. You were correct.
But you know what? I'm sitting here watching the fantasy games, and I'm flipping back and forth, and I'm playing Darren in the Agents League, and I'm going, why the hell is he kicking my ass? And then I clicked on the game and clicked on that and went, oh, Joe Mixon. And then I put the game on TV. I'm going, can you guys hand the ball to somebody else besides Joe Mixon one time?
Nope.
Please? Just one time.
They did before they finally took Mixon out. They put Pirine in, and Pirine moved him down the field.
And they put Mixon back in.
And then Pirine was tired from running for like 40 yards. So they put Mixon in. First pass is a screen pass to Mixon. Oh, touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, the only other game I've seen like this, there was Sean Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
His rookie year for the Seahawks had a game similar to this to win me a playoff game.
It wasn't a playoff game. That was a Thursday night game.
It was in the middle. It was the first part of December, middle of December.
Oh no, wait, that was a Sunday night game. Yeah, his first one was a Sunday night game, and his second one was a Thursday night game. His 2 4-touchdown games.
But man, Bengals looked great. Panthers looked, yeah. So, Bengals are back in play. Bengals are back in playoff contention like they always should have been. They're off this week. Dolphins and the Bears.
Dolphins 35, Bears 32. Speaking of other things that Doc got wrong, Justin Fields almost won this for the Bears. 123 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 to Cole Kmet.
Who I picked up to beat. Wasn't it you?
Oh, did you pick in the BNI league?
I picked up Cole Kmet when Andrews was hurt.
Oh, I mean, you could have started
Tobin.
Yeah, you could have started 5 backups and they would have beat me in the BNI league this week. It was brutal. But
You're not wrong.
Not at all.
Justin Fields set the all-time single game quarterback rushing record, 15 for 178 and 1. And really, they should have called a penalty on Miami for interfering with Claypool that would have set them up inside the 10 with 10 seconds left. And the Bears could have won this thing.
Oh, the Bears should have won this game.
Yeah, in the first half, if you touch a guy, it's pass interference.
In the
In
second
the
half,
second half, you can maul the guy. I mean, it's old school playground. No blood, no foul.
as long as there's no blood, it's all right.
Yeah. Tua 302 and 3, 7 for 143 and 1 to Tyreek. Tobin is desperately trying to get him off of Zane, I hear. 5 for 85 and 1 to Waddle. Mostert got a rushing TD, but Jeff Wilson Jr., who just got there on Wednesday, had a receiving TD. Get ready for more non-clarity in the Miami backfield again.
I think he's going to be RB1. I think
He'll get injured next week.
he fits that system. He is
He'll
going to
get
be
injured next
RB1.
Oh,
Well, yeah, we'll see.
I think it's a total 50-50. I think it's 100% interchangeable.
Oh, well, I mean,
Because they're
other
the
than a couple
same-
words in the play callings vernacular, nothing's different than what he's used to.
Right.
I mean, that's the ultimate plug and play piece.
I don't disagree.
I think they're the same damn dude.
Almost.
I mean, they're almost exactly the same size.
I think Wilson runs a little bit harder.
Mostert's a little bit faster.
Mostert's faster, but I think Wilson's more durable between the tackles, which is more where they need it.
So I think you don't know what's going to happen there. I mean,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the game film lays out after they've been there a few
put
weeks.
Gesicki at tight end, Waddle and Hill at wide receivers, then put both on the field at the same time and see what happens to all that speed.
Yeah.
That'd be tough to cover.
yeah. Jags 27, Raiders 20. Last game, Carr 259 and 2, 10 for 146 and 2 to Devontae. Most of that was in the first half when the Raiders led 20-10. Jacobs couldn't really get going. And then Carr just missed so many wide open throws in the second half.
It's like he was hearing footsteps or something. Everything was just a half step off, behind guys, over guys.
Yep. Spicoli did manage to bring the Jags back. He was 235 and 1, 6 for 53 on the ground, 8 for 76 and 1 to Christian Kirk. But Travis Etienne, 28 for 109 and 2 for 17, cementing him as a top 5 RB1.
Etienne is the man.
Woo!
About damn time.
Finishing second only to Joe Mixon.
Had a great week.
You kill that week and you're like a distant thought to Joe Mixon.
Well, we appreciate the effort. Here's the runner-up prize.
Yeah, right. That's Eddie Murphy. I want half, Eddie, half.
This week, Doc and Tobin both 10 and 3. I was a miserable 7 and 6. I'm now in dead ass last. Tobin, as he has said,
If you ain't first, you're always last.
if you ain't first, you're last, and he's way out in the lead there.
He has a
so,
10-game lead over me at this point in time.
yeah, it's over.
Dear 6 pound, 5 ounce baby Jesus.
All right, we'll jump out real quick here, and we'll be back in a sec.
Indian Media Productions is your one-stop shop for all of your media creation needs. Whether it's producing a podcast like the one you're listening to, or maybe you just need some video for your social media and websites, sales and promotional videos, or even TV commercials, we've got you covered. Check us out at IndianMediaPro.com. After you've listened to Warsquared and have your lineups locked in for the week, we invite you to go over and check out 3 Dogs and a Dude. It's a podcast inspired by 3 crazy rescue dogs and their dude who like having conversations with interesting people. You never know who might pop into the studio as a guest, and we guarantee some laughs. Check out 3 Dogs and a Dude wherever you get your podcasts.
well, jump back in here. I want to go to halfway point MVP since we're literally at the halfway point of the season. I'll start off with the NFL MVP. And I love Josh. I love Pat. But when your team's undefeated at the halfway point, you've got to be the front runner for the MVP, and I'll take Jalen Hurts.
And I agree with you 100%. He, at this point in time, is the clear leader for MVP of the league.
100%. I mean, there's some other names you can put in there if something happens.
Pat, I think Pat's the only other name you can put in there at this point in time. With the uncertainty surrounding Josh, Pat's got to be the only other name associated with that.
I think until you're proven that Josh Allen's down, you keep him on the short list.
Yeah.
And I think if there's an outlier at another position, I think it's Tyreek right now. The numbers he's putting up are just insane.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that leads me right into the guy who's going to slam dunk smash offensive player of the year, and that's Tyreek Hill.
I had somebody else offensive player, and that's Travis Kelce.
Interesting.
Yeah, Kelsey's not going to get the votes.
Here's the reason. Kelce, if you look at position, production by position, he is outperforming every tight end by at least head and shoulders. And he is the heart and soul of the Kansas City Chiefs in that offense, which is leading the league in scoring at this point in time.
I don't disagree with that, but Travis Kelce is not on pace to break 2 of the receiving records. And Tyreek is.
Yep. And different positions, different people. I think Kelce is the most impactful offensive player in the NFL right now. Now take Hill. Here's Kelce. Here's Hill. They're very, very close to each other. I just like Kelce because Kelce's production is coming from a spot where he's completely dominant at, whereas Hill has competition to be the most dominant wide receiver at this point in time.
Maybe we create a new category of most important to their team.
That might be
Travis Kelce.
That's Travis Kelce, no doubt.
If he goes away, not pretty.
Oh, no, it's real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure it is. Defensive player of the year, Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
This is a slam dunk.
I can't think of anybody else that you would put in that conversation with him at this point in time.
I mean, he's basically single-handedly kept the Cowboys afloat the first half of the season.
Yeah, he's the reason why they
season.
have a winning record, are in playoff contention.
I mean, they're 6-2 without him. They might be 2-6
Oh, they're for sure 500
at best.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Offensive rookie of the year. This is Brees.
And if Brees Hall's healthy, this is his.
Yep.
He's not. Kenneth Walker III wins it.
Ken Walker III. He is smashing it right now.
I can't think of anybody else who can come close to competing with him at this point in time offensively, other than maybe Chris Olave.
Yeah, and he just doesn't have the numbers to go along with it.
I agree completely.
Or the dominant type performance.
Yep.
Defensive rookie of the year, Sauce Gardner.
He's got to work on his snow angel game, though. That was pretty weak that he was doing after the game the other day. I mean, but if that's all you can guy on,
that's the worst thing you can bitch about. Then he's having a pretty good
snow
time.
angel game is a little suspect.
He still hasn't given up a TD in coverage.
Great pick.
He's in the
Great
NFL.
Pick. Houston, you made a mistake, didn't you, dude?
Oh my gosh. Comeback player of the year. I'm giving it to Geno Smith right now. I mean, he's been given up on by, I believe, 5 franchises.
Yeah, but
let's be honest, it's probably closer to 25 franchises because he was
problem
available to anybody who wanted him.
The problem I have is he should be the most improved player, not the comeback, because he was active all last year. Comeback usually goes to people who are injured, miss the season, or miss significant time of the season.
But that really doesn't matter either. It's going to be who did we not expect to perform that either didn't start most of the season last year or, played sparingly or whatever. I mean, so that's why I think he's going to win that. I did the write-in here as we were talking and put on coach of the year. My coach of the year, like I said earlier, is going to be Brian Daboll. I had the Giants as being the worst team in the league, period.
Daboll's done a hell of a job. The 2 coaches in New York and the coach in Seattle got to be the three front runners at this point in time.
Yeah, screw New York overall. Give it to Pete.
Yeah, I mean,
but what he did, trading away your franchise quarterback for nothing.
How brilliant does he look, and how stupid? How much do you think Denver wishes they'd said, "Hey, Well, what can we get Geno for? I mean, we'll throw some nachos your way, maybe some wings.
Oh, no. Denver now is wishing that they would have given up. They would have got Rodgers.
Yeah. Or Geno.
No, I would rather have Geno than Rodgers right now because, quite frankly, Geno's having a hell of a lot better year than both of them combined.
Keep Drew Luck and draft another quarterback next year.
Right. Now we'll really just talk about fantasies, MVPs.
I feel like I should have some bounty.
That's right. The fantasy MVP right now, it's Tyreek Hill.
I got Kelsey. Kelsey's so dominant his position. He gives you a 3 to 4 point per game advantage over anybody else you put out there minimum. And he's actually scored more fantasy points than Hill has.
But in most cases, Kelsey was drafted almost a round before Tyreek Hill was.
For good reason. That's why Kelsey, in my opinion, is the fantasy player of the year.
But
doesn't matter where you draft him at.
I understand why you're saying that, but he is the advantage is you only got one player before you got Travis Kelsey, and then you had to take a step back at either running back or wide receiver, and you had to hit on some of these other guys, or your Kelsey pick didn't help because you took a bigger hickey on the players that you had to play or draft later that didn't live up to.
But Kelsey scored more fantasy points than Hill.
No, he hasn't.
No,
Kelsey has 106
earlier. He did.
Kelsey has 167.4 year to date, which puts him about 15th. Josh Allen 215, Tyreek Hill 206.9, Mahomes 203.4, Burrow 199.5, and down from there.
Because the one I looked at had him the highest. I might have looked at standard rather than PPR though.
Well, I can't help you, with which language you're speaking.
Top fantasy quarterback right now, I'm giving it to Jalen Hurts. He was going way later than the other guys. I believe he is number 4.
So what you're doing, you're giving them extra points if they were drafted later over the person who's performing the best no matter where they were picked.
Well, and also what I think they're going to do going forward.
Yeah, he's currently QB5.
And QB1 is
there's
Allen, right?
only 20 points between QB1 and QB5.
Yeah, and I have Josh Allen here because he's clearly the QB1 at this point in time, depending upon how he's injured.
Allen and Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you're giving people, you're weighing the system back. You pick later and are doing better. That makes them more valuable than people picked early who are doing exactly what you expected them to do.
Yes, and also because I know Josh Allen is injured and because I think that Jalen Hurts might actually... There's still a lot of big games for the Chiefs coming up. There's not a lot of big games for Jalen Hurts coming up where he can't just score.
It's also potentially going to hurt him though down the stretch. If they're mowing people over, he may play 2.5 quarters a game. That's a big fantasy hit.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, especially if they've locked up the playoffs in week 11, week 12, how much do you play him?
Just enough to make sure you get the number 1 seed, and that's it.
That's right. Yeah. Top fantasy running back, Austin Eckler.
Can't argue.
I agree.
He has been a monster.
Will he make it through the season's the question, because that dude's been taking a lot of hits.
PPR leagues, he's by far the best running back.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
got scoring leagues. I'll take King Henry.
27-point lead over Joe Mixon. Then King Henry's about 40 points back.
Yeah, in PPRs because he catches so damn many balls.
And McCaffrey's sneaking up at 166, but he's had 2 bye weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's hurt him.
Yeah.
On a point, but that's the thing that's always been there for McCaffrey. On a points per game basis, he is at the top.
He's almost unbeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be top 5 with 2 bye weeks this year.
Top fantasy wide receiver, it's Tyreek. It's not close.
Can't disagree.
Top fantasy tight end is where we go. It's Travis Kelsey.
Agree completely.
Coming into the year, I had Mark Andrews here.
So did I. That's why I took him before I took Kelsey.
He's almost 50 points behind Kelsey right now.
Yep.
Can you guess who's number 3?
I'm going to guess Gerald Everett.
No, Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz.
Or I was going to say, or Hawkinson, one of the 3.
Hawkinson's 5, Goddard's 4. Taysom Hill at number 6.
Oh.
But Taysom Hill is there because of that one monster game.
Dude, he's Inspector. He's like the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah,
Inspector Gadget, Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Did you see the rocket he threw in that game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap. He about knocked the guy over.
Well, that's one of the things they talked about during the game. And they talked about it with Sean Payton on the Eli and Payton broadcast is he was like, look, I was set. 2 years before Breeze retired, we had our next quarterback in Taysom Hill. I was ready to go.
Now, who was it he told? He's in the building.
Our QB is in the building.
Yeah.
Or the next QB is in the building.
So, Tommy, I feel like you're shorting some people here because I don't see a top fantasy defense, special teams, or kicker. What's the deal with the love or lack of for the
Well,
the
the top
defense,
kicker's
special
got to be
teams, and kicker?
Justin Tucker.
No, the top kicker is
It is Justin Tucker.
is it? I thought
By
it
a
was
point over Jason Myers from Seattle. Nick Folk, Ryan Suckup, Carlson.
And the defense is probably
the defense is
the Patriots.
He's on glitch.
Dallas.
You guys just named 1 and 2. Patriots 1 at 94. Dallas 91. Eagles 83. The goddamn Jets are 4th at 80.
It's unbelievable. That's one thing about the Jets that is going under the radar is how many sacks they're getting.
Well, they can't cover. They can't find anybody open because Gardner's got the number one guy covered.
Oh yeah, he's got him on lockdown. So yeah, I didn't put defense and kicker in there because honestly,
It kind of depends upon who the matchup is, other than the kicker.
I'm just saying they can make or break your team.
They can. I don't disagree.
they can. It's just hard to, and it's usually a year-to-year thing, and depending on the schedule. Like right now, the Patriots are ahead because they just got a pick 6 touchdown.
Well, they're ahead because they played the Lions and they played
The Colts.
the Colts.
And Dallas is going to go back ahead this week because the Patriots are on bye. So
In theory,
I guarantee Dallas gets 3 sacks.
I don't disagree with you, but they could have one of those games where they're
Micah Parsons might have 3 sacks.
in the first half.
And then the top fantasy sleeper, there were a lot of people I thought about putting in here, but I went with Josh Jacobs.
I went Waddle.
Can't go wrong either way there.
Yeah, I don't think Waddle was as much of a sleeper. I was down on him because I thought Tyreek was going to take away so many targets and receptions from him, but he hasn't.
You weren't the only one who was down on him. Everybody else was downgrading him dramatically. Waddle's
I
performed.
thought he was going to get a lot of love because everybody's going to focus on Tyreek.
Yep. Waddle's performed exactly how I thought he would, although I thought he'd have actually a few more touches by now. But this production I'll take.
I mean, Hall of Fame game, everybody thought they were showcasing Jacobs for a trade.
Right.
Turns out they're just showcasing because he's the only offensive weapon they got other than Adams.
The other big name I considered here was Miles Sanders.
He's had a hell of a season.
That dude was washed up. In a way, another guy that could be put on here and could be comeback player of the year, Saquon Barkley.
There's a true comeback player of the year.
I mean, he played last year, but he was a shell of
But he was
himself
injured
last
most
year.
of the He also missed games in time last year for being injured. He missed significant amounts of time for that.
And he's I think he's number
2.
when he went out, he was either 1 or 2.
He was 2 when he went out for the
And he got passed.
bye. And I think Mixon passed him, so he's still a top 5 back with this bye week gone.
Yeah. We switch over now to waivers. By the way, if anybody has some opinions on there and they want to shoot
Go to
us
Facebook and argue.
yeah, shoot us some notes on there. Put them in the notes on YouTube. Whatever you want to do, we'd love to hear from you. Waivers in top 5. My number 1 waiver ad. He's still available in over 50% of leagues. Justin Fields. I think they figured out how to use him.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, but now can they make the adjustments when defenses figure out how they're using him?
They still haven't adjusted to Lamar, and he's been doing this for 4 years.
Yeah, but I don't think he's Lamar.
I don't know. I watched him last week. He looked pretty damn good, and he was on grass, not even on field turf. Number 2, Terrace Marshall. Remember, this guy played at LSU on the national championship team. He is not a scrub. He's just been a scrub because he's the number 2 guy, and for most of his career there, he's been the number 3 behind Robbie Anderson. I mean, now that he's getting a chance to play, I think he's showing his talent. Number 3, Isaiah Likely. 1 catch, 24 yards, and a touchdown. If Mark Andrews misses time, this guy's only going to get better.
He should.
I like Greg Dulcich. He's coming back off bye. I believe he's had double-digit fantasy points in all 3 of his games so far.
He won't this week. There's this guy named Kevin Byard who's going to shut him down.
Yeah, maybe, unless Byard's over trying to help on Judy and Sutton, which
we won't need that.
Okay, yeah, your guys are great at covering people. That's why Pat had 446 yards passing.
Pat also threw the ball 70 times.
Number 5, I've got Cade Otton on here. We know that the tight end merry-go-round is a real thing and a struggle, but when it came down the stretch, Brady was going to Otton and Scotty Miller as they marched down the field to win that game. So he's available in 95% of leagues, and literally looked like the only player that gave a damn on Sunday when the game was on the line.
I've got George Pickens, who's still available in over 30% of the leagues, Kadarius Toney, and Jeff Wilson Jr.
Tony's a special kind of quick.
He is quick.
Toney could be the difference between the Chiefs winning a playoff game and not, just simply because of his physical abilities.
So here's the question, Chiefs fans. Who would you rather have? Kadarius Toney, who you now possibly control for the next 3 years, or a 1-year, 6 or 7 game rental of OBJ?
I'd rather have Kadarius Toney for the next 3 years.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think OBJ coming off that surgery, I mean, it's not like you flip a switch and you're 100%. He's going to come back at 75, 80% in mid-December in the cold.
Yeah, if you sign, whoever signs OBJ is signing him for January, middle January on in those 3 games, hopeful that he'll be the difference maker in the Super Bowl.
And yeah, I'll take the quick guy for 3 years over the rental for 1.
Yeah. So I think that's a very real thing. I think maybe the Chiefs created that cap space thinking about doing that, and then just was like, well, let's explore all this a little bit. Who's somebody else out there that needs a change of scenery?
Well, when you hear about Reed and those guys liking him long before he really became available, he was on their draft board. And when you hear the announcers in the Sunday night game talking about if you're going to draft a team from all the NFL players to play tag with, he's the number 1 draft pick. I'm like, whoa, that caught my attention because he's that quick and that speedy.
I will remind you of one thing. He is a University of Florida wide receiver, and they traditionally don't do well in the NFL.
Yeah, well, rules are made to be broken, brother.
I don't disagree. Okay, top 5s. Tom,
I have Pat Mahomes. I have Josh Allen in here because we still don't know exactly what happens there. If he is out, he drops out, and I replace him at the end with Tua. Jalen Hurts. They should smoke the Commanders on Monday night in Philly. Justin Fields, because his rushing is enough to make it. Before Travis Etienne finished with what he had, Justin Fields was the number 2 running back last week. And then Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler also didn't practice today because of a hamstring. So watch that. It could be Colt McCoy versus John.
I looked that up. It was like, dang it, I think I let it go. There, I got it still up. It's John Wolford and Bryce Perkins.
Yeah, John Wofford. Yeah.
Wolford.
I have Mahomes, Hurts, Herbert, Tua, and Murray are my top 5.
I'm telling you right now, you can't play Herbert. I don't care if he's playing KU.
I'm starting Mariota over him in the BNI league.
Okay.
Good decision. At running back, I'm starting with Christian McCaffrey until further notice. Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne.
I've got CMC, Henry, Saquon, Chubb, and Etienne.
Yeah, I like Chubb. These other guys, unlike in Cleveland, these other guys are getting the work.
Yeah, well, I think that Cleveland is going to look at the tape from 2 weeks ago and go, damn, if we hand the ball to Chubb, we actually do well offensively. Let's hand the ball to him more often.
You think they're that smart?
No.
Well, I think the tape
Hell
might actually
no.
enlighten them some. That's it.
Come on.
We'll see.
Come on,
we've
man.
I've
saying
been
that
banging
for
this
2
drum for
years.
the last 2 years. So
We talking about practice.
Exactly.
Not a game. We talking about practice. I know it's
okay, my wide receivers. I got Cooper Kupp number 1.
Nope.
I know you don't have him there, but man,
Not Wofford.
even last year with the bad will, he still got the job done. Until proven otherwise, he's my number 1. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown.
I started with Stephon Diggs. I'd move Stephon Diggs down to probably 6 or 7, even with Case Keenum. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Justin Jefferson. I'm putting Devontae Adams on there.
Well, there's a shocker.
Yeah, here's my surprise face.
I think they will eat up the Colts, especially in Vegas.
Tight ends.
You got to put Kelsey on top. Then going with Zach Ertz, who's currently number 3. TJ Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert, George Kittle. Again, Goddard against the Commodes.
And I don't disagree. Although I have Pitts in there equal with Kittles at this point in time. Or Kittle, not Kittles. That's
Is it a
Terry.
catch week or a block week for Pitts?
I'm guessing it's going to be.
I can't ever remember. I'm guessing the
They're
wrong
playing-
way
they're
every
playing-
time I play him. He blocks.
They're playing the Panthers, therefore it's got to be a catch week.
Yes, he was 5 for 80 with a TD against the Panthers. I predict it will be not as good, but should be double digits.
All right.
Sleepers, I'm putting in Devontae Smith. I believe his breakout game was against us when he had that monster 160-yarder or whatever. Amari Cooper, Antonio Gibson. The Eagles can't stop the run. They were ate up by it. We're going to have to be in receiving back personnel because we're going to be behind. Chris Olave and Cordero Patterson.
And I added that list with Rashad White, Isaiah McKenzie, Michael Gallup, and Tyler Algiers.
I like the Tyler Algier. We'll go some league recaps here.
Hold on. Back up. Isaiah Likely?
He said Isaiah McKenzie, the slot receiver for Buffalo.
I thought I heard Likely.
Nope, Isaiah McKenzie.
Okay. I thought I heard Likely. So I'm like, is he going to break out as a sleeper on their bye week? He's going against Air, Doc. Yeah, he's going to have a good week.
Have a hell of a week, isn't he?
Really asleep. In the Dynasty League, Doc was beat by Nick, who's surviving on smoke and mirrors. I barely squeaked by Shook, and Tobin barely beat Billy, like we talked about earlier.
Point and a half, baby.
Things are crazy in the AFC behind Seth. That's me, Tobin, and Ross all vying to be the other playoff team. I'll play Tobin this week, so that's probably the in or out of the playoff game.
Yeah, this is our version of the Bucks and Rams last week, I think.
That's right. Doc's ruling the weak sisters in the NFC, where literally every one of them lost this week. So
Yeah, our division kicked your division's ass.
Brutal for that crappy division over there. I need to be in that division so I can win.
You still get your ass kicked because I kicked your ass and I kicked your ass and I kicked. Oh yeah, I kicked Seth's ass too, didn't I? Your division hasn't beat me yet this year.
Huh.
Well,
good news. You have no competition the rest of the way in your division.
Yeah,
no, my
that's true.
division is beating my ass. I'd rather play your division.
in the BNI league, Doc killed me. I think he doubled me. He texted me on, I think, Sunday morning.
Sunday morning going, why don't you why didn't you switch out of defense?
Why don't I get a defense? Because they're not worth $1.
He didn't want to pay $1. He was asking me that last week.
He's a cheap bastard.
cheap
What can we
ass.
say?
to still get my ass whipped.
But
I mean,
at least I texted you and reminded you to make sure you had a legal lineup.
You sound insane. Do you realize that?
that is
Medicated.
I was nice enough to make
Be
sure
medicated.
to alert you had somebody who was not going to score any points for you. I was nice enough to do
You
that.
just didn't want me to have an excuse for why I got
Oh no!
beat.
The fact being you're too cheap to spend the dollars makes me kicking your ass even better.
Well, there wasn't anybody that was worth dropping either. I mean, I guess I could have dropped Taysom Hill.
So I've seen your roster. You got a couple people you could probably drop.
Oh, I don't nobody that was worth it for a 1 week rental on D.
I mean, you could have got the number 4 goddamn Jets defense. They're available in that league.
I could have. That was silly. But anyway, Tobin beat the projector, so now there's a 4-way tie atop the
And
Tupac division.
Tobin is clearly out of pancake range at this point in time.
Oh.
Speaking of pancake range, go ahead and finish your BNI wrap up. We'll talk pancakes after that one.
The Hoff beat Joe, so he and Doc are tied atop their division. So I think this is the week that things could start to separate a little bit, but it's really, really even.
And the 8 teams make the playoffs in this league. So it's called get a chip in a chair, I think, is what it's going to come down to.
Oh, no wonder Ross always wins this stupid thing. He gets in by the skin of his.
He gets in at 8-5, and then he gets hot, and
He got 2 trophies out of 2 trophies.
yep.
Crazy.
Okay, pancakes, cover it.
So pancakes. We've got somebody that's currently in position to be doing weekend at IHOP.
Double duty.
Double duty. Mr. Zane Wooden, 2-7 in both leagues. He told me he wasn't worried. He said, people will quit. Don't worry, I'm not going to finish last. Okay.
Famous last words.
I think maybe next week at BNI, we should come walking in with a little maple syrup. Just drop a little hint. Perhaps.
That'd be hilarious.
So tell me, how's the Scotty Fishbowl League going, Tom?
Oh, dude, brutal. Oh, it's so brutal.
Are you going to let me draft next year?
Yeah, I'll let you draft. I don't care.
Okay, good.
There is so much I've learned about how, and
To get your ass kicked?
Well, thinking about where I should have drafted and stuff like that. You really want to draft in the middle because it's on the ends. It's just too far between your picks. You'll never get players back to you in time. Because in the middle, you could just get so many more players were available there. And in this league where it's a super flex and you can start 2 quarterbacks, you've got to start 1 super stud, and then you've got to find the breakout. Because if you have the mediocre guys like I started with, Baker, Carson Wentz, and Derek Carr.
If you'd have told me up front that was your quarterbacks in a super flex, I'd have told you just to pack it in right then.
That's what I told him when he told me
Oh
we was
my
quarterbacks.
God.
Yeah.
You should have, Josh
brutal.
Allen and then Jalen Hurts in the second round.
Oh, Jalen Hurts wasn't there.
Okay.
I mean, Derek Carr was the highest rated quarterback that was there when I drafted
In the second round.
in the second round.
Okay.
Maybe you should have just went with Arch Manning and sat and waited for 2 more years.
Yeah.
It's a non-carryover. That's the problem. So tell me about the Agents League, Tom.
In the Agents League, I've done it.
You broke out the holy water.
I have defeated evil. Satan has been tamed temporarily. Now, we do know that he will come back and offer us the apple, and we will all unfortunately take a bite, and he will win the league again because that is what happens in the playoffs.
I'm going to beat him this year.
Okay. That's funny that you say you're going to beat him because you got smoked by Darren and Joe Mixon this week.
If Joe Mixon gets his projected points, I win.
Okay, Ross Reverse.
But
No.
it didn't work that way because
No.
Mixon kicked my ass.
He beat you by 40 points.
Yeah, Mixon was projected to get 15, not 60.
He couldn't have been projected to get 15. He was projected to get at least 20.
That's still 40 points.
That's 30 points. Thank you, mathematician.
Math is hard.
It really is. It's a skill.
Well, he scored 60. He was projected to get 20. That's 40, correct? I got beat by 40.
Doc now has to worry about war.
I got a 2-game lead over.
Worry
I got a
about-
1-game lead over Ward and 2-game lead over Darren.
Yeah, I'd be worried about Darren coming up and getting
I'm worried
him.
about Darren, but I'm not worried about Wardo at this point in time because he's fading
Yeah,
quickly.
he's terrible. He lost to the Dak Street boys. Freddie beat Toby, so hopefully these two keep cannibalizing each other, and then I don't have to worry about either of them. But I play Toby this week, but he's got Josh Allen, so he's got a problem. Brad kept his slim playoff hopes alive, but Marty and Dak are pretty much now at this point eliminated.
Correctamundo. And with that, it's bonus time.
That's right. We'll see everybody later. Thanks for coming by and checking us out again this week. Peace out.